So the class is being recorded. So good afternoon, everyone. So you are welcome back to today's class, our free masterclass day 2. We plan to have these 3 sessions being day 1, day 2, and day 3. Last week we had a session that was the first session that we had last week, Saturday. And during that session, we discussed about data analysis, and we look deeper into data cleaning using some text functions. So today we're going to look at data analysis techniques, and we're going to look at how to analyze data using pivot table. If you have used how many of us have used a pivot table before? Pivot table. If you have used pivot table before, can you signify using the chat box? If you have used pivot table before for data analysis, can you show us? Can you tell us in the screen? Okay, whether we use it or not. So we are going to use the data we send to the group to practice that today. This is part of um, the class as introduction to the next data analysis cohort that we're going to have by April 13. We're going to start the training by April 13. And it's going to be a 10 weeks training. Like we all know, it's going to be a 10 weeks training. And during that period, we're going to learn much about Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, and Python for data analysis. So we're going to focus our attention on data analysis throughout the 10 weeks. And it's going to be Saturday and Sundays alone. Saturday class will be 10 to 1, while Sunday classes will be 1:45 to 4 p.m. So it's going to be like 4 hours on Saturday, 2 hours Sunday. Saturday is 4 hours, 2 hours Sunday. That is 6 hours times 10 weeks. So it's going to be like 60 hours session, at least 60 hours session. So we're going to have the periods together, the trainings together. And like the cost is a bit friendly. Yeah, it's friendly compared to the average payment around. Okay, so without wasting time, last week we had the first session on day 1, which was where we discussed about data analysis and the introduction to data cleaning using text functions in Excel. So today we're going to look at the data analysis techniques. We're going to use we're going to carry out some analysis using pivot table. So when you talk about data analysis has its workflow. When you get a data or as a data analyst, there are certain things that are expected from you. You don't just get a data and you just start fire run. So there are certain things you need to understand before you venture into any data project. One, you must understand the business case. Before you venture into an analysis, I think business case, you must understand what the business is all about. Then we have a build measurement plan, collect and prepare data, understand the data, analyze and visualize the data, develop data-driven insight, and then measure text and optimize. So these are the 7 workflow that you need to follow to have a very meaningful data analysis. Now, so what do we mean by understanding the business case? What do we mean by understand the business case? So when you talk about business case, you need to understand what is the business objective and what does the organization expect from the analysis you want to carry out. So once you can answer these two questions, then you can begin to dive into the analysis. Wait, before you start, you must think, you will put yourself into the shoe. The most important aspect of business analysis or data analysis is putting yourself into the shoe of the owner or into the shoe of the stakeholder. So this will help you to see the data from the picture of the intended consumer of that project you are about to carry on. So there are certain questions you should be able to ask yourself before you start the analysis. Which goal or business outcome am I trying to impact? Who are the key stakeholders? Who am I reporting to? And whatever I'm able to arrive at, how will it help the organization? And how will my job fit into the overall business objective? So, in the workflow of as a business analyst or data analyst, so this must be the bedrock of which you are going to build whatever you want to build upon. Then the next thing you are going to look at is the measurement plan. You should have some performance indicators that aligns with the business objective. Now you've known the objective of the business. What are the KPIs that you need or the metrics that you need, and which will align with the objective of the business you want to analyze for? As a data analyst, you are not there to just to analyze data just for fun's sake. So we are there to make sure that everyone in the everything whatever we carry out will help the business in a positive way. So in that case, you must be able to determine what KPI are you looking through the sales, through the customers, wherever where you are looking at, you must be able to come up with some key performance indicators. So these are called the measurement plan. You want to measure the performance of the business, either through sales, by region, by group, by product, and the rest. Then we have the third step on the workflow is collection of data. You want to perform data analysis job, you need data. And this data, hello, can you see my screen, please? Kindly, kindly confirm you can see my screen. And let's remain muted, please. If you are not talking to me, please remain muted. And if you can see my screen, you can unmute and talk to me. Let me hear from you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see that.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Okay. I think I'm on number 3, right? Can you see number 3 here?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you. So now the third thing we look at is data. Where do we collect data from? Are we going to collect it from the internet or from where? Does the company has the server? Who is in charge of the data? So we collect the data and we do necessary preparation on the data. Then the next thing you look at is understanding the data. So I'm not going to spend much time on this. So understand your data before you venture into analysis. Try to understand what each of the column is all about. What does each of the column represent? So when you understand your data, you know the pattern of the data, and perhaps if there's any outliers there. Outliers means when you have outliers is a kind of a data that distorts your data. For example, we have all our sales are in the region of between um, 10,000 to 100,000. Our sales is just in the region of 10 to 100,000. But suddenly, while doing the analysis, you discover there is a sales of 250,000. You know, you have between 10 to 100. Now you can see 10 to 100,000. You now see a sale of 250,000 or 2.5 million, which is totally out of the range, totally out of the range. So we call those outliers. So during the understanding of your data, so you identify such, and the next thing you look at, you get the granularity of your data. The granularity means what does the entire table focus on? What are they talking about? Are they talking about the sales or about uh, customer or whatsoever? So if there are any specific thing you need to know about the data, for example, perhaps you are talking about you are you are doing the let's say you are talking about the medical data. If there's anything you need to know, certain terms you need to understand, you must know them. So when you understand your data, then you cannot go ahead and analyze or visualize your data. So there are various ways by which you can do that. Statistical method, analytical method, visualizations, and the rest. So this will help you to make an impactful um, analysis. Then you develop a data-driven insight. What are the outcomes of your visuals? As an analyst, you are not just to prepare just the visuals there. You need to explain to the users what is your data saying. Your data, what is it saying? You need to tell people what the data is saying. Or else, you just see like just like a design. Analysis it's not just a design; it's about communicating the insight from the data. Data, when you have a raw data, it doesn't make any sense. You look at it from up down, it takes a whole lot of day while trying to navigate and understand what data is saying. But with a single visual, you can quickly identify the trend of the analysis. And last on the list is at this point, you deploy when you deploy the 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 recommendation. Now, after deployment, you need to test again and see that it's doing what you expected is what is being delivered. Anything from that again, you need to reoptimize and re-strategize again. We recommend look deeper into what are responsible for not getting the desired result from whatever you expected. So, remember we started from when we talk about this. We talk about measurement plan. So, on measurement plan, we have this as a summary of what you look at. We talk about think business first, know who are your audience, develop KPI, and identify your data source. Where are you going to get your data from? So, these are summary of what you need to know to start your job as a data analyst. Now, let's look at the data type that we are likely to work with. So, as a data analyst, you need to understand the kind of data you're going to work with. Data can come in different forms. We have numerical data, which is like a quantitative data. It talks about number. It talks about number. In some cases, we call it measure. It's something we can count. So this is called numerical data. So we use this kind of data. This data can come in two forms: discrete or continuous. So when you talk about discrete data, that is the numbers that are limited, 1 to 12. We have January to December to 1 to 12. If we use kind of date, perhaps you want to get quarters. Quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four. There's no quarter five. Am I communicating at all? So there's no quarter five when you are analyzing your quarter. That is called discrete data. It is limited. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can have 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5. That's all. But continuous data are data that does not, it's not limited. 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.4. It can just be any random number can be there. The same thing applies to continuous date. When you talk about continuous date is about January 1, 2022. When you say January 1, 2022, that means you can have January 1 as many times as possible. But when you say January, it's a discrete data. We only have January to December, which is 12. Nothing, it can't increase, it can't reduce. But when you say January 1, 1995, that's a continuous data. That means that kind of data is going to do what? It's going to continue. So numerical data can come in that form. We also have categorical data. This is more or less like a qualitative data. We can also call this dimension, like in Tableau. We call it dimension. We use them to analyze the quantitative figure that we have. For example, in a company, we have sales figure and we have the product we are selling. Can somebody unmute and tell me what does sales figure represent and what does uh, the product category represent too? Can somebody unmute and talk to me? We have the sales figure and we have the product category. So which one is numerical data and which is categorical data?
Okay. The numerical data are the sales figure. Then the
Sales figure.
categorical,
Yeah.
yes. Then the other one is the
Okay.
categorical figure.
The product
Because,
category. For example, let's say we have 100. Thank you very much. We have 100. We make 100 million sales, and we have 3 products. We want to know which product is giving us more sales. What do? We categorize them into. We categorize the sales into 3. One sales give us what? 30 million. The other one give us 50 million. The other one give us 20 million. That is category. That is where the issue of categorical data comes on. So this categorical data also can be subdivided into 2. We have the nominal data. These are like they're not this kind of structured something. You can see the example we have here. We have for somebody who's selling here, different colors can be there. Ratings, excellent goods, and that. So these are nominal data, product type, product categories, and the rest. We also have the ordinal ones, like in the case of customer satisfaction, where you rate people. We want to see how the people are rating us as a business. How are they rating us? So what that is, you can see it's not about the product. It's not about the particular order. It's not about the product whatsoever, but it's about the order. It has a range, like 1 to 5. It has a it's a gradual. It has a kind of gradual whatsoever. You have the best, the non-best, the this. So it has a kind of graduating list. So there we use that as the ordinal. We categorize them as the ordinal data. So in summary, here we have it as a small table. The numerical data can be discrete and can be continuous. So the values here has nothing between them. You know the number of value you have. If it is 10, it is 12. But the continuous one will continue and it doesn't have It doesn't have to stop. It can be anything. It can be anything. So we have categorical on as a nominal and ordinal too. And you can see the example we have. We have like a block type A B, A O. Shirt size can be of this country of origin, product category, customer type, region where they come from. One that it has a kind of defined order and ranking. It ranks. You can see the way they rank this and this from here to there and there, the rest. So I think that is making sense. So now, why are we here? We want to talk about techniques also. While we, why do we want to learn about data analysis? Or the topic of today is about the analysis techniques too. So we've talked about the data, but data we have now will guide us into the kind of analysis we're going to do. Like I said earlier, data analysis is about extracting insight, not just to design visual, design dashboard and give it to people. It's about getting meaningful insight from that data that look like no data to us. It look like nothing. So how do we get some information from that data? So here are the simple techniques we can look at. One, the techniques for numerical data. Remember, we have two types of data, numerical and categorical. So what is data? We have what is called descriptive statistics, where we summarize our data into maybe medium, most standard deviation, range, and a quick overview of characteristics of the data. And we have correlation, where we measure the relationship between two numerical variables. We want to compare them and see what we want to compare A with B and see what effect is A having on B. So we also have regression analysis also. So regression analysis is the kind of analysis that explore the relationship between dependent variables when one variable depend on the other variables. Like for example, let's say we are selling a product like coffee. Let's say we are selling coffee. Okay, let's say we are selling mattress, and we're selling duvet. Um, so you need to know how is the cost of mattress affecting the duvet that we sell. How is the sale of coffee affecting the sales of perhaps uh, tea. Let's say we sell tea and we sell coffee. So when two products are dependent on each other, so we use regression analysis to explore that. So we also have categorical data. So categorical data can also be analyzed in various ways. We can use frequency table and chi-square test. So the frequency table is a way whereby you organize your data and you see them on category, like I mentioned earlier, where we have the category, the product, this product, that product, and we're able to compare them. Why? Meanwhile, the chi-square, just like the regression analysis also, it tests if there is association between two categorical table variables. So what are the difference between the categories? What are the observed differences between them? Is there any genuine relationship between them? For example, let's say we change the brand of our Coke. We are selling Coke. We are producing Coke. Now we change the label. We want to see the sales as our sales increase. Was it because of the change of the label? So we need to want to check how how they are related. So this, consider this is not about number. It's not a numerical data at that point. but we have to advert. We want to see which of the advert is converting more. Is it because we added free advert to this, or we make this one a paid advert? Why are people? Is it because of this? Because we make it a mobile app, or because we do it um, on Android, or as a web base? So that will guide us to know um, that is what the chi-square test is all about. And finally, we have when you have a mixed data, we have numerical data and calculated data. We can use the like of ANOVA. So people who have statistical background will understand what we talk what we talk about at this various point on that on descriptive analysis, correlation, chi-square, Frequency table, and ANOVA. And some of
Okay.
these tools also are things that we can also use Excel to also explore. So Excel is built to solve some of these basic um, analysis. So so we're going to look at some of them as we move ahead in today's training. So now, before we start the class, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Akim Mustafa, and perhaps if been we have been following our class for long, I'm the lead tutor for Bratu Multi-Concept Consult. So Bratu Multi-Concept is a training outfit or business support outfit. We deal in training, accounting services, um, tax, and business support. So one of our core area is training on data analysis. We also have trainings on Sage 50, QuickBooks, and some basic accounting software. So we train people on how to use accounting software. We sell and we also uh, support them too. So if you have been following me before, or you're not following, you can search for Akim Mustafa ACA on LinkedIn, or perhaps I will drop my LinkedIn profile before the end of the class. Okay. So any question on the slide before we move into the practical section? I want us to quickly look at this so that we don't waste so much time on theoretical aspect. Any question? Hello? If you have
You are
any
good to go,
question,
sir. Move on, sir.
okay. Okay, good. So you can always make use of the chat box. So we are going to start now. Um, so looking at this data that we have here, this data is sales data, right? New e-commerce company. This is a company that is into not selling, perhaps not selling physical stock, or operating from a physical office, perhaps e-commerce, where you can order directly from the internet. You can order directly, and you get whatever you want to you order for. So here are the data that we have from this data. We have the address, the lot, during the time of AM or PM. Can somebody tell us what each of these column, or what each of the column represent first? Let's interact with this data. Let's try to understand the data we have. What does the address stand for? What does the lot stand for? AM and PM. Company, credit card, CC expire date, CC security code, CC provider, email, job, IP address, language, purchase price, and I think that's all. Can you tell us what each of them stand for? Remember, when we talk about data analysis, we talk about understanding your data. So can somebody tell us this? What are these, or what do they stand for?
Record.
Record. I know it's record. What is each of the columns standing for?
They are headings.
Yes, the headings. What does this address stand for? What about the lot? PM, company, credit, TC, security code, service
Field.
provider. Yeah. What is this
Field.
field? I know it's field. I want us to explain the data itself. For example, this one represents the card that the person used to buy from us. You know, when you buy online, you're going to present your data, your card number, right? So, why is it like this? Okay, I think that means hold on. I think some of the this thing was wrapped. So let me remove the wrapping there. Okay, it's okay. Now, if you look at this data, this is a card. So we should be able to know, okay, this is credit card number. You get it now? So you understand this is credit card number. So control one, okay. And when you look at this date, you know this is credit card expiry date, the day the card is going to expire. You get me now? So you must understand what each column stand for. That is what we have here. Sometimes we call it data like the library. We call it a kind of data library where they explain what each of them stand for. So we have the address to be what? To stand for what? The address of the customer. The lot is a code or identify for the lot, a code that is given to identify the lot, the portion of the sales. I think this is like an ID. Does it have duplicate? Does it have duplicate? Let's confirm if there is duplicate here and see perhaps that may be the unique address. So click on container formatting and let's quickly see identify duplicate value. Yeah, okay, we have some duplicates there and let's see how much they are. Okay, we have some duplicates in this date. Yeah, in this lot. Good. So next thing we have here is indicate whether the transaction occur in the morning, afternoon, or evening. So the AM stands for morning and the PA. So we can see when do people order the most. Is it the morning or in the evening? The company. If you are buying on behalf of a company, what is the company name? The company name you use for the transaction when you are buying. The credit card stand for what? The credit card number. The CC expire date, that is the date the card is going to expire. Then we have the security code at the back of the card. Who is the provider? Is it Vive card or Visa or Mastercard or whatever? The card provider is there. The email address of the customer, the job, the occupation of the or the job title of the customer. Then we have the IP address that is associated to each of the buying, each of the purchases. Then we have the language of the customer and the price the customer paid for the purchase. So if you go back now, you see that it will make more sense to us. Since we understand what each of these stand for, they can also, okay, that is good. We can go ahead and start the analysis. Now, this data, does it need any cleaning? Last week we talked about data cleaning. Do you think this data has any cleaning issue? Hello? Do you think the data needs cleaning or it has a cleaning
Yes.
issue? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You think it needs a cleaning issue? Where?
Yes. Most especially this credit card column is not really giving the details of,
Of the number.
because it has been yes, the number has been approximated
Okay.
And this lot also, the code, the digit, what's the alphabet is not unique. Some
Okay.
small, some capital, just mixed.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Who else again has something to say about the data? About the data self again? Who else has something to say about it? So just like he has said, the on the lots, we may not have much to say about the lots, but I think the most important cleaning here is about the credit card number, which is it's like it has truncated. We can now actually see what it represents. So let's quickly look at what we can do to solve that. So press Control 1. Okay, let me select the entire date first. Let me select the entire date. Control Shift down arrow key. Click on the first one, hold Control and Shift, and press the down arrow key on your keyboard. So you're going to select the entire data for you. Now you can see that our data is just 10,000 data. Now press Control 1, click on number, and then remove it from two decimal place. Just click OK. So you can see your card is there. Even though we may not need the credit card number much, but at least we can see the way we're able to clean it out. You press Control 1 and you remove the two decimal places. So your number is going to come back to as a real number now. So without wasting time, let's quickly go into the analysis using pivot table. So pivot table is one of the greatest tools that Excel has presented to us in terms of analysis. Very fast and very quick in summarizing your data. And I don't think there is still any tools faster and used for analysis better than that in Excel up to today. So how do we use pivot table? Under the Excel tab, we have what is called pivot table. Pivot table. This is it. We also have pivot chart also. So we are going to look at the chart next week. Today we are going to look at pivot table today to analyze for analysis, and during the next we are going to look at pivot chart. That is next week Saturday. Now on pivot table, so to insert the pivot table, select anywhere within your data set. Make sure that your data does not have space in between them. You can see there's no space, there's no extra column in between them. And ensure there's no extra row in between here, in between your data. Make sure that your data are together, everything are together. Because if you click on this and you insert pivot table, you're likely to have something like this. See what we have. It's only selecting this. It has left out some of the data. Can you see? It only see where this data end. So that's the reason why when you want to analyze using pivot table, ensure that there's no space between your data. No space. Now let's quickly insert pivot table and see the magic this can perform for us. So click on insert pivot table, and it's asking us. It has selected our data from A1 to M10,001. So let's check. You can see we have it to M, and remember our the last row was 10,001. So this is the last row. So it has covered all our data and we are good to go. Now we have various option here. Where do you want your pivot table to show? Do you want to show on this workbook or existing workbook, or you want a new clean worksheet? So let's use a clean worksheet and just hit OK. Now you can see our pivot table is there.
Bro, I'm saying
Hello? So can you please mute yourself, please?
Come on, come on, customer.
Please, let's remain muted, please.
Yeah, kán pè wọ́n ni now.
Let's who is talking here. Okay, Ima, you have a question, right? Can you unmute and talk? Ima, you have a question? Ask your question.
Okay. Uh, Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Please, I didn't know how you were able to change the data inside the credit card field. How you were able to clean it to change it from the format it was before to this present format. I don't know
It
if you can
was
help.
just the numbers here.
Okay.
It has two decimal places before. That's
Okay.
why it was truncated. So what you do
Okay.
is press a Control 1 and
Okay.
remove this just to this decimal place and click OK. So sometimes when
Okay.
you have a long number, it puts them. It thought Excel will put them in a comma separator. You get
Okay.
it? That's the reason why, and the numbers are no longer. It's no longer meaningful again. That's why they are truncated. So the moment you
Okay.
remove all the comma and you remove the decimal place, it just show just like a number as it is.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
That
I
is it.
think I've done that on my Excel now. It
Great,
works.
great.
Thank you, sir.
So okay, you're welcome. So where we were was inserting the pivot table. Once again, let me show you again how to insert pivot table. I'm removing this sheet. Click on anywhere within your data set and click on insert put pivot table. Now, where do you want it to be? Is it on the existing worksheet? You can select your worksheet, and if you see existing worksheet, you can just look for a place and tell the pivot table to come here. You select, you put the location here. But if you want it on the new sheet, click on new sheet and click OK. So it will open a new worksheet for you. And here we are going to start analyzing the new e-commerce sales. Okay. Now, where do we start the journey? Let's quickly look at the purchase price there. I'm going to drag this purchase price into value. Let's see what happened. Can you see what happened to our table? Our pivot table. It has summarized all the purchase price. These are our sales. Total sales is what? 50, 503,472. So that you can see how fast pivot table can help you to summarize your sales. By doing what? By just dragging the purchase price into the value. So now we have the sum of our purchase price, which is our total sales. Any question at that point? Any question at this point? Okay, Olua, you have a question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead with your question.
Like for instance, uh, you said something that if one column or a field is missing, if
Okay.
one column, maybe something is missing in a column during the process of cleaning your data, and you did not discover, and you're trying to insert pivot table to create a pivot table, it will not allow you to create until you find something to like okay represent in that particular field. What if we did not know what exactly is missing in that table? What are we going to represent that table with?
I didn't say that you should represent it with anything. When you have your data, what I said was that ensure that there are no spaces within your data. And when you have a missing data, there are so many ways by which you can have a missing data. You can undo missing data. Sometimes, if it is the entire column that is missing, then you need to go back to the source to know what the entire column represents. If you have some, perhaps let's say under the company name, if some were just missing, look at the sum that are missing. What is the relevance of the sum to the total? Perhaps if like out of 10,000, almost like 6,000 does not have company, it means that column may not be we may not rely on that column for our analysis. But let's say we have the company names and they're just like 10 out of 10,000 does not have companies. You get it now? So it's something we can just isolate those 10 with in our analysis. We can just hide that one out of analysis. It does not have real impact on analysis. So you don't just replace something with anything. Since you are dealing with the company, you need to go back to people who generate data initially and let them guide you. Okay, when something is missing here, what is likely to be? Perhaps, perhaps that is null. Maybe the person who does not belong to any of the categories. You get it now? So you cannot just add something to anything. No, you don't do that. What you do is you go back to the people who has the data. But if what is missing is irrelevant, it's not that much on a particular code, and is not going to make a meaningful impact on your analysis, you can isolate it. You filter it out in your analysis. Is that clear? Hello?
All
Ololuwa?
right, fine,
Okay,
sir.
good. Now, we have our total sales here. So let me format this. Let's quickly format this. Let me right click here and format the number or format cell, either of the two. Click on the number. Let's make it a comma separator and hit OK. Good. We have our first pivot table. If you have done your own, can you type yes in the chat box? If you have created your own first pivot table and you have your total sales or total price whatsoever, can you use the chat box and tell us yes or done? Chat box. Great. Emma, done. Who else again is done? Who else again? Done. I want to see your done. Okay. So perhaps you're just following us. Okay. So the next thing we look at is now we have our total sales. We can rename this as our sales. Let's rename this as total sales. Total sales. Does it work? Yeah. Total sales. Total sales. So that is it. That's our that is what we have here as a purchase price. Now let's quickly do let's do another analysis now. I'm going to copy this now and paste here. If I don't want to copy, I can go back. I can go back and do insert another pivot table again. But since I already have one, I can just copy one here. Now here is my analysis of my total sales. But this time around, I don't want total sales. I want the average sales. You know what we have here was sum of sales. But this time around, I want to have the average sales. You know what I'm going to do? There are two ways by which you can do that. One way is come back to where you have this, and you can see a drop down box here. This button, click on this button, and you can see that you can see value field settings. The value field settings. Click on this, and you change your summarized data by what? To average. I want to summarize as what? As average. Click OK. Now we can see our average sales. These are average what? Average sales. We can change it and name this average what? Average sales. You can see the same data we copied, we were able to change it. You can also use option here. Value field settings is here also. value field settings is there. So you can change it. You want to count the maximum sales, the minimum sales, whatever you want to do, you use this option. You want to know the number of sales we made. You want to count number of sales that we made during that period. What do we do? Let's copy this again and take it to another sheet. Now, one thing you should note, when you are copying pivot table, please ensure you copy everything. If you leave anything out and you paste it will not show this value field again. It won't show this to you. So, okay, as it is, let me right click this. I want to know the number of sales we made, and I can click on value field settings, and I want to count the number of rows. Since each row represents each sales, so you can see that we have 10,000 rows. It means that each row represents a sales. This one represents a sale. Each one represents different sales. So like that, we have 10,000 sales. And if you divide the sales, the total sales by the number, you're going to get the average, which is 50.35. This is the number of sales that we had, or the number of orders that we had. Any question at this point before we move on?
Yes, I do.
You have a question?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
So, okay. So I understand um the aspect of the pivot table you just did, but
Okay.
please, sir, sorry to take you back a bit.
Okay.
When you were exploring each of the fields,
Okay.
so on the lot field, there
Okay.
was something you did to find out duplicate values,
Yeah.
which was showing you shined it red, color red, where you
Yeah.
have the duplicate. I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
right. So,
Yes.
sir, please don't be offended, sir. Please, can you just repeat how you were able to fish out the duplicate values on that lot field, sir?
Okay.
Sorry to sorry to
I'm not offended, but for the purpose of the class, I think you are going to get the video after the class. The class is being recorded,
Okay, sir.
and you're going to get the video, and you can always go through any of the steps what we took.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, so you've seen the way we are able to analyze our sales in different forms. Sometimes you want to know the maximum sales, the highest sales, the minimum sales. You can always use the value field settings to change how the sales interact. Is that clear now? So you can use the value field setting to always change these interactivities, the sum, the product, anything you want to do, you do that. So that is that. The next thing we're going to look at now is I want us to now analyze this data now. Let us now analyze this data. These are sales using different field that we have here. So we are going to start. Let's quickly copy. Let's instead of copying this time around now, let me insert again. For people who does not know how we inserted, select anywhere within this. Click on insert pivot table. Select pivot table, and if you want to use this existing sheet, select existing sheet that is already existing. And where do you want your this to look to sit down? Because okay, I want to use this place. You can see now that is there, and click OK. So this is a new pivot table that we have, nothing inside it. Now I want us to carry. We are going to drag our cells again to this. Since our cells is already here, we're going to call it our cells, and I want us to analyze this. First analysis, I want us to analyze based on the AM or PM. We want to know when do people buy order most. Is it in the morning or afternoon and evening? AM representing the morning, PM represents the afternoon and evening. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag my AM or PM into row. Let's see what we get. So you can see that our sales, we have 24.7, 22, 24, 247,000 order from the morning, while we have 255,000 orders in the evening or afternoon. So sometimes you may be wondering, why do I put it on the row? Why not column? When you are doing basic analysis, most of the time you want your data to be in a row form, and sometimes you have them in column form also. So if you drag this, depending on what you want to present, if I drag this into column, you're going to have it like this, and you can see that it has made this to be it has changed this to column level. But if I want to present on a row level, I drag this to row, and then you can see that now we're going to summarize our data. Let's format this data and see it clearly. Press Ctrl 1 and select your number. Click on this and hit OK. So you can see that the number is now being formatted well, like a number. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, the other thing we're going to look at is, let's analyze this based on um, the company they represent. Those are our customers. We want to see how many of them made more sales, more purchases from us. We want to see how many which company is our greatest customer. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this now. Remember, I said when you are copying, ensure you copy. If you copy the 3 rows, it will not work. Let me copy and see. Ctrl V. This is just a number. You can see that you can't see your field again. So if I click on this, the field will come back. Because I didn't copy everything, so this is just like an ordinary number I copied. But if I copy like this, ensure that in fact, you can start from the top and copy to down. Make sure you cover everything. Copy and paste. This is a pivot table. So let's quickly look at this pivot table now and change some things from here. We have it to be like the same now. So I'm going to remove the AM and PM. I drag it off. Now I'm going to bring the company into the row. So I've brought the company into the rows, and you can see how many companies we sold to. Wow, plenty companies. Each company. This is serious. We have 8,000, about almost 8,000 companies that bought from us. Okay, who is the best buyer here? How do we sort? Let's know who is our greatest, the top 10. Let's quickly look at the top 10. We don't want to know just the top 10 only, right? So what do we do? So let's click on this and okay, do we need to sort first? Do we sort or we just filter the top 10 only? If you want to filter, this is the way to filter from from small to largest. You sort, start from the small to largest. Sorry, A to Z. Sorry, that's A to Z. Let's sort like this. Click on sort and the more sort option. What are we sorting? So you can sort based on sum of purchases. You see that instead of the default that we have as a company here, we can sort by what? By the sum of purchases, which is our sales, and hit OK. So you can see from 0 to what? To the last one. So these are the top buyer from us. We can also say, okay, what we want to do is we want to sort from the biggest to the smallest. Sort from biggest, largest to smallest also. You can see the same thing. It has been sorted. And when you have a long list like this, so many times you don't need them. You don't need all the long list. What you may need like maybe the top 20 customers or the bottom 20 to analyze them to see why are they buying, why are they not buying from us. But in this case, let's keep the top 10 customers. So what do? We go back to this and right click this. We have filter. Okay, sorry. We have the filter. There's a filter here. We have the filter here. And under the filter, you can see we have, we want to pick the top 10. And after the sort, we have the filter. Let's keep the top 10. Based on what? If you have more than one column, the top 10 item based on sum of sales. If you have more than column, you can select here. But in this case, we have just the sum of sales. Click OK. Now we only have the top 10 customers here. Is that clear? We can see the data we have that look like nothing is there before. Now we can quickly see, we can okay, we want to know our top customers. We can see them and how much they contributed to our sales. You can see what they contributed to the sales. Any question at that point? Okay, let's look at the card. Let's see how they buy from us. Which card are our customers using the most? Let's see the kind of cards they use to order from us. Let's quickly analyze that also. Let's look at this. Select your data and let me copy this or copy anyone. You can copy any pivot table, anyone you have before. You can copy anyone, Ctrl C, and let me come down here and press Ctrl V. So we have our total sales again here, and we want to analyze these sales by what? We want to analyze these sales by what? By credit, I say okay, by providers, right? So you can say okay, we bring this into this. Now I drag this into row, and you can see the card the service provider for the card. So which means that we can see the amount of sales we made from each of these. Visa 16 digit, Visa 13 digit, Voyager, Mastercard, Maestro, American this. So you can see, so from here we can know which card are our customer using the most. So if there are specific reasons to go into details of any of the card, you can go ahead and do that. And sometimes you want to explore more. Okay, this card, when they use them the most, you can drag this into the column. So the moment I drag this into the column, you will see that we now have the sales based on the AM or PM because I dragged into the column and I have this here. You can also have, if you have more options, you can even drag, you can still drag something under this. You can still drag something under this or this number. This may not work here. It may not make any sense here. The language may not make any sense here also under this. So you can have layers here. And you can say, okay, I don't want this thing. I want to put it under here, under this. You can do the same thing. You can put it under here, depending on what you want to present. So you can still see that we still have analysis on this level. Okay. So let's move to another sheet. Let me do one more analysis. Then we now go back. We now go and explore more options that we are likely to use. So insert pivot table, and we have a new sheet, and I want to carry my total sales, and I want to analyze the languages. So you can see the language that people speak. So we don't know what each of them represent, and if you know, no problem. But we can see the language they represent, and I think we have more sales from PT and the hard Y. Or no, we have more sales from DE and EL, where we have 58,000 sales, and we have the least sales from ZH, which is 53,000. So these are the sales we made from different languages that we have. And now I want us to quickly look at some things that we can also do with this. Let me format this number first. Control 1, number, use comma separator, 2 decimal place. No, I don't need decimal place. You can remove it if you don't need it. It's not compulsory. So you can see our sales here. Now, let's quickly do something more. Let's do more, let's go more depth into this. I'm going to drag this into this. We have the same thing again. I have a repeated thing. This time around, I want to change this from a sum to average. Or okay, we've done average before. I want to change this to percentage of sales. I want to know how many percent each of them contributed. What do? I select this, right click this, and you can see summarize this as sum count this. But you now see the show value option here. We want to show the value as what? Percentage of grand total. If you have a subtotal too, you can select what you want. Can you see now? So you select which one you want. So in this case, I'm going to click on the percentage of the column total. Yeah. So you can see the percentage of each of them, contribution of each of them into our total sales. Is that clear? Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. So the last thing we're going to look at here is we've talked about column, we've talked about value, we've talked about row, we've not talked about filter, even though we've applied filter, but we've not talked about how to use this particular section. Now, let's quickly see how it works. From this analysis, I'm going to drag my AM into filter. The way I drag the AM to filter, look up here. You can see that it has created a filter for analysis. And here, you can now say, okay, you can say, this is what we want, AM, and want to see the AM. It's going to summarize the data based on the AM. And we have just 247,000 from AM. And you can change it to, okay, I want PM, and hit okay. Now we have 255 from what? From PM. So you can say, okay, I want to see more than, if you have like long list, you can select this so that you can have more than one options. For example, let's say we have instead of this, let's say we have credit card provider here. We have more than one here. You can say, okay, we want to have multiple options. You can say, okay, I want to see how the visa 15 and 13 digit only. I want to see this, and then click OK. So you can see this says is just only represented the what? The visa 16 digit and visa 13 digits. So that is what filter does here. And the other thing we can also use instead of filter here is called slicer. Instead of filter, we can use slicer. So let me click on this and go back. When you click on viewer table, you see pivot table analyze and design. If you click outside, you will not see them. When you click inside again, you go to see pivot table analyze and design. Your own may be analyze and design only. It may not have pivot table, but you definitely see the option to format your cells, your information here. So let's quickly see from here analyzer. I'm going to insert what is called slicer. So the slicer is going to be from credit card provider. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, instead of the filter that we had before, I can say, okay, instead of filter, I want to use slicer. And when I click on this, you can see it has summarized this. When I click on this, it has summarized this. But because it's the same data, I'm going to remove this. Let me remove this, and let me remove the filter. See, remove the filter here, and then delete this. Let me go back and use the same option here that we have. I'm going to remove the filter here now. Remove, go back and insert our slicer. So our slicer is what? Provider, and it's okay. Let's quickly put this here. It on filter 13 and 16. You can see that it has identified them. So if I remove this, everything is back. So I can say instead of having what you have before, you can just use click. So click work for analysis also. The same way your filter will work. And most people, this is good for presentation. Your boss may not have that patient to be scrolling up and down. But here, you will just select and see. I want to see what we have from Maxtro, and then you can also format this. Click on slicer and come here. Let's make it 2 columns. You can make it 2 columns for easy accessibility for your boss or whoever you are presenting to. You can see we have it like this, and then you can always just click on this. I want to see this. What is happening here? What's happening here? What's happening in this department, and what is happening here? If there is need for you to select more than one option, you click on this, and then you do this. Now we have 2 options plus this. I want to see 3 of them aggregately. They accounted for 126,000 of our sales. Any question at this point? Any question here? So let me remove the filter and come back to our data that we have. Okay, let's assume there's no filter. There's no whatsoever now. Okay, let me add something to this so that you can learn 1 or 2 things there. I'm going to add another layer to this. I'm going to drag this into this place under language. Now we have the language and the period where they sell from us. When I click on the design, on the left side, you see subtotal here. Subtotal, this total here, you can see that we have total for each of the language. AM and PM, we have the total here, and we still have the grand total also. So you can say from design here, you can just select your subtotal and click on do not show subtotal. If you want to remove subtotal, you just click on what? Do not show subtotal. If you want to show it, you click on show subtotal. Another thing you can do is you can say, okay, okay, we have the total for column and row. This is for the where do you want the sum of total. If you want to show it, you want to show at the top or at the bottom. You can show at the bottom instead of what we have at the top before. You can see now we have the total downward at the bottom here. Also, we have the grand total. You can say, okay, I want to see the grand total for row or for columns or for both row and column. You want to on it or off it. You want to off for row and column. You want to on for row and column, on for row only, off for columns only. So you can always use this option also to show the subtotal or total. Then we move to report layout. Look at it very well. You can see our report, how it is. You can come back here. Sometimes when somebody presents his own, you will see that it's different from your home. Why? So what do you do is go back to design and under the report layout, select any of these three options. Compact form. This is a method. This is a layout. This is called compact form. Okay, let's see outline form. This is another method of presentation. You can see that it's different from the first one that we had. And another one again, we have another one, which is the tabular form. Can you see? So it means the first one we had was a tabular method. Also, you can add the column, a blank row. After each item, you want to have a blank row. You can see that after each of the total, you want to see total a blank row. Those are the things you can always do with your analysis. And you can also select how you want your data to look like. You can see different formats you can use. Just click down, you can see all so many formats you can use for analysis. You can see them. So these are things you can do. You can also decide you want to brand your row or column only. So you can always do that also. Then we move to analyze here. Under analyze, there are things you can do also. You can rename your table. This table we have, we can rename it. Can give it okay. Language analysis, or analyze. Let me just stop there. So we know that when we talk about language analyze, we are talking about this table. And remember, we can change this name. Don't forget that. We can change it to sales, for percentage of sales, total sales. Yeah. And here we have percentage of sales. Yeah. Sorry, percentage of sales. Yeah. Now we are on what? On analyze. So you can rename your this name, and have the active sales. Where I click on, that is the active field. If I click on this, it change. The active field will change to total sales. And down here we have what is called option button here. These option button are used for various things. Various things you can match, you can use to merge and center. This is just layout and format. And the auto fit, you can see that each time I drag something, either the thing will expand or reduce based on the size of whatever is coming inside this. So you can select option under your option and make sure that there is no auto fit. Only the size of column you provide will only show. So if you like drag anything here, anything you drag here will not change the size of this column. It will not, it's not more than this the size we have here. That is what that does. Also, we also have a display here where you want your display to show, or you want to remove your display option. Um, Sorry, not here. Is it under printing? No, under the display. Okay, the show, expand, or collapse button. Yes. No, no, not this. Okay, end of this. If you tell, you can test any of them. Okay, this is what I want to show you. Classic pivot table. Sometimes you see this layout often, and you can see this layout. You wonder where the line comes from. This blue line, the layout, come from what? From the option. So from this option, that's where you get that layout from. Under the display, you have this classic pivot table layout. Then we have under this also we have slicer timeline. We use timeline when we are working with time, right? Working with time, we use timeline, and we have filter already. We have talked about filter already. On the right side here, we have the field, item, and set. So we use this we use it for calculated field. When you want to calculate, you want to create formulas here also. So we use this to do the calculation. So I'm not going to go into that to avoid misleading most of us. And also here we have what is called field list. This field list is this. Sometimes you just discover that you click on this, you cannot find your field list. What do you do? Go back to pivot table analyze and select this. Then it's back. So we have other options here also. This is plus or minus button. When you have minus in your analysis and you want to hide the minus, you use this to hide the button. If you want it to show or you want to hide, it will show or hide the button. And the field header too. You have your field header, we can just select. The moment I click on this, the header went off. The moment I return it, the headers are back. So those are little things we can do with your pivot table. And when you add, assuming you add a column to your analysis, let's say this is our table. Now we want to know what year will most of the card expire. In that case, we are going to see, we are going to split this into two, right? Or we can say, okay, we can say instead of splitting it, we can just say, okay, year only, year. I say, okay, equals to year, and then open the bracket, insert this, and close the bracket. So you can see this is expiring 2026, and you can see everything here. Now I want to know what period, what year are they likely to expire the most. When you come back here, you cannot see the year here. Can you see? The year is not here. What do we need to do? You go back to pivot table analyze and you change the data source. Change the source to include what? To include n. N. It doesn't reach n before. So you just change this m to what? To n column and click OK. Now, if you come back here, you can now see the year option here. So that is how to make use of the option here called what? Change data source settings. So when you add anything to your analysis, you need to refresh the range of the data it covers and make sure you bring the data show to reflect the data, and then you can now go ahead and analyze with your data. Let's see how many of our customer likely they are like they are this is likely to expire as soon as possible. So we can say, okay, let's quickly insert a pivot table here, and we can say, okay, insert pivot table, and existing worksheet. Let's use sheet 4, and let's select somewhere around this, and hit OK. So here we have the pivot table. Now I want to see how many of my customers will have this thing, the customer names. Let me bring their names here. The customer names, customer. Do you have name at all? Is there any customer name? No, there's no customer name. We only have what? The company name. Okay. Let's see. Let's bring the company into this row, long list, and they are going to bring the year, the year into this also. You can see that it has added it because it looks like number to Excel. But we don't need to add it. We want to count. Instead of adding now, Value field settings, we're going to count this and hit OK. So you can see the numbers of no, I think we want to know the years they're going to expire, right? Not count. We want to know the year, the expire year. I think. Okay. Sorry. So in that case, I'm going to remove this and remove this. So we're going to bring the year into this. We're going to see the year into this now. Now bring our data, our customer or lot or anything. You can bring the company, since that is our this thing, into the value. And we say count. That's counted them. So you can see in 2016, we have 376 day card that's going to expire. 2017, you can see expiry date. 2026, you can see expiry date, and so on and so forth. So I think at this point we'll be able to do justice. So the analysis we can do with our pivot table, and now we can also use other options that we have here to get more insight into our analysis. Any question before we call it a day? Any question?
No question. No question, sir.
No question. Okay, good. So in any of our group, let's try as much as possible to make the group interactive. Like I said earlier, I would like you to follow me on LinkedIn. Here is my profile, Akim Mustafa ACA. So let's connect on LinkedIn and grow the growth in community. Let's connect and let's learn from each other. And
All right.
also, I also appreciate you make the group active. Don't
All right,
forget
sir.
also, I dropped some things in the group yesterday. If possible for you, try to give us a rating on Google. We've dropped the link into the group. Let's support each other. And don't forget the training we are starting April 13th. If you
All
can
right, sir.
make any payment before the month end, you are likely to enjoy the 15,000 naira discount, which will make you to pay just 60,000, 5,000 naira out of 80,000. Remember, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to
All right,
learn a
sir.
lot, starting from Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, and Python. 5 different courses, 5 different tools
All right, sir.
from different instructors for 10 good weeks. So that's going to make a valuable impact on us. Please, let's try. If you can afford to join, try to do. Try to do. I know of people who will have joined us last year when we were doing it 25,000 naira, 30,000 naira, and still they have not been able to join up to now because the price is going up. So if you can now, let's try as much as possible to join the current train. And I can tell you that I doubt of where you can get the same price for the value we are offering to you. Check all our competitors, check what they offers, and compare with what we are giving you. And very soon now we are going to incorporate CV review into our training into our system too, where we're able to review your CV and we're able to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get to help you in accessing a good and quality jobs from the LinkedIn. So um, I will encourage all of us to try as much as possible to register for the upcoming stream, which is going to start by April 13th. And if you have anything you want to ask from me, you are good. You are free to ask for it within the group, or you can call me personally to talk about them. So thank you for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank you.
You're
God
welcome.
bless you, sir. Thank you
And
so
you
much.
too. You're welcome.
Wow, this is wonderful.